Chaotically Nerdy is a podcast made by nerds for nerds. This podcast is made by adults, for adults, and children with bad parents. Adult language will be used and adult situations may arise. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chaotically Nerdy. On today's episode is your lovely host, Tyler. Your other semi-lovely host? I don't know. That sounds weird. I don't like that. Your medium rare host.
There we
He's
go.
okay. No,
Jared.
medium host, not medium rare. Medium rare is too good for him.
The fuck?
I'm the medium rare.
Fuck you. You're the rare. You don't ever show up.
I do like rare.
I mean,
Bitch,
I
you're the
literally
well
don't
done
care.
steak. That's what you are.
The fucking disrespect. So if you didn't catch it, it's Jarrett and it's Ethan, as always. Well, not always, because Ethan's a
Yeah.
bitch sometimes and just sleeps right through a recording.
You can go to hell.
Burn.
Oh, so today's topic, we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I finally got to go see it, which is why it's taken so long for this to come out. Ethan's seen it. How long has it been since you've seen it? You've seen it like opening
First
weekend,
day.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
First day.
First day, damn. And have you went and watched it again? Or
No.
Just, okay.
It was good.
So you're going off of like a month-old.
I'm trying not to do what I normally do, which is I go and see it a second time, and I'm
And
like,
then you hate it.
look, fuck that. I'm trying not to do that, okay?
I will be 100% honest. I watched that movie, and the whole time in my brain, I was looking at like a podcast script. And I was like trying to figure out like points to talk about as I'm watching the movie. I still enjoyed the movie, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it's still, I think I watched it with a different eye.
Instead of
just
we
going to
literally
enjoy
went
it.
there to, like, you know,
To analyze it.
well, we were like, well, let's go see Mario. And then you were like, couldn't do it. So I was like, well, let's go see Dungeons & Dragons instead. Then we can all.
Well, I was at a visitation,
Yeah, I'm saying, that way
so
we all,
it's a good excuse, to be
Yeah.
honest.
that way we all still had
Was the visitation until 10 o'clock at night? Because that's when we went.
No.
No.
Could
But
have went.
it was after I worked all day, and then I went to a visitation. And
I'm just giving you crap on
was
that one.
done.
I literally don't care. It worked out because
Yeah, that
I
was-
imagine I enjoyed this movie better than I would enjoy Mario.
Either way, we got a podcast out of it.
Yeah.
That was kind of the way I was doing it. The reason I was doing it was because Mario was going to be shorter, like it's a shorter run time than Dungeons and Dragons, and they played like 30 minutes apart from each other.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go watch Mario this week?
This week? Ooh. No,
I'll go watch it myself.
There's only one movie you should be watching this week:
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Me.
Okay, let's get into the actual shit that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the movie. So first off, we're going to give our overall thoughts. Jarrett's watched it 2 times.
Yep.
If you didn't pick that up, he watched it whenever it came out originally and then went and watched it with me this weekend. Dice. Almost skipped that. Ethan.
I guess because I've only seen it once. He's seen it twice. You saw it recently.
Yeah.
I guess it is better to start with me. I really liked it. I would out of 10,
Sure.
7.5 to 8 out of 10.
You agree with most of the people on IMDb, which we will talk about later.
I didn't have that many problems with it, honestly. And for a D&D movie, it is wonderful because the rest of them are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really, really, really good. It was really entertaining and fun, and had a really good. We'll talk about the rest of it later, but had a really good reflection on what it's like to play D&D.
Yes. It's me. So as far as a D&D movie, I give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, even maybe 9.5, because as far as D&D goes, it encapsulates what D&D is like so well.
Have you seen any of the other D&D movies?
I've not.
All right.
Don't. They're garbage.
Yeah, this is the high point.
To be honest with you, didn't even know there was other D&D movies.
Bunch of trash ones.
It's really not good.
They used to play them on Sci-Fi all the time.
But as a movie in general, probably 8 range for me. I mean, I think it was a really good movie. I don't have a whole lot of complaints with it, but then again, I go in. We've talked about this before. I go in to movies with as low expectations as I can possibly have to try and help boost my own opinion of the movie. Jarrett, you're up.
Very similar. I think as a D&D movie, it is nearly perfect. It is like a 9.5, like Tyler said. As a regular movie, I probably am the highest on it. I probably go like 8.5. I just really like the movie. It's very enjoyable. I really, really liked it. And this is me seeing it a second time. I don't normally like comedies as much the second time because once you know all the punchlines and stuff, it's kind of a lot of comedies lose their luster, I guess.
I could tell when you thought something was going to be really funny because you would turn and look at me to wait to see my reaction.
I love doing that in movies. If I know something's funny, I like looking at people and being like, what are you going to laugh as well?
And that actually brings me up. I'm going to skip around a little bit on here. It brings me to a point. You looked at me during the fat dragon scene.
Yeah. You didn't think that was funny?
It's not that I didn't think it was funny. It's that I seen most of it from the trailer.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, like, I knew the fat dragon was coming.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the point of, should they have even showed that during the trailer, or should they have left it?
I seen the dragon. I guess I didn't pick up that it was fat in the trailer.
I did.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He looked huge in the trailer.
I just didn't pay attention. I was like, oh, dragon. Cool.
I always thought trailers need to be far more careful than what they are normally because sometimes, especially in comedies, they ruin like some of the biggest jokes, some of the best jokes a lot of times.
I think that they did a fairly well job with this.
This one's not bad, but
because
they did ruin the reveal of the giant fat dragon.
That's the only one that, joke-wise, I can think of that they really ruined, besides the Speak with the Dead.
But they only showed
they only showed one.
the very beginning.
Yeah, they showed the very beginning.
That
which was far more extensive than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic.
I thought that we were going to see the first one, and that was it. Or like they were going to be like, well, now we got to do something different. I did not think they were going to just keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah, that was great. But I think the fat dragon was a little bit ruined by the trailer. But it was still really good.
I was still
It was still
absolutely.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny.
And partially canonical.
Yeah.
Because it was based in Forgotten Realms, right? Because it had Neverwinter and Icewind Dale. Twist it.
Okay.
It's a twisty.
It's a twist top.
Yeah.
This is a pen. I'm trying to make sure that I mark off stuff that we've talked about so I don't.
But just for reference, this movie is based in Forgotten Realms, which is one of the biggest pre-made setting for Dungeons and Dragons that's out there. There's a huge book series that was really famous that was built around it's from the Drizzt Do'Urden series, written by R.A. Salvatore. It's a huge world that has a huge background with a lot of characters, especially around the area that the movie is based, which is Neverwinter.
Yeah.
This dragon is actually, this huge, fat, lazy dragon is actually a thing. Its name is Hephaestus. Well, it's not explicitly stated that is the dragon, but with the location where they were at, it's
everything going around.
And then having this huge fat dragon, it really made a lot of sense that would be it. They didn't explicitly say that that's what it was, but it's a reference.
Didn't they say that?
They say a name, but I figure it's more.
Hephaestus has another name too. Later on, it actually lends towards a possibility of future stories that they could do if they want to maintain the use of that dragon, or if they just wanted a one-off reference.
It was probably for haha, fat dragon, funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called him
Thimberchod.
Thimberchod. So that is not one of the names that I know for that dragon. So it's probably just a reference.
Yeah, it's probably like big fat red dragon. We'll just call him something different though, because
well, there's lots of red dragons. Yeah.
So next up, the changes from the game to the movie. Basically, what we noticed that was different in the movie that's not as, like when you're playing, it's not as prevalent.
Well, there's one really big thing that changed. Being for a druid to turn into an owlbear was a big thing, but it really doesn't make that big of a difference, to be honest.
No,
I always thought it was kind of weird that they were monstrosities anyway. Like it was weird. I'm like, why?
There's a lot of really
I'm sure there's a lore
animal-like monstrosities. I mean, there is sort of a lore reason, but it's like rangers not being able to have pets that are monstrosities.
Yeah.
That's like a griffin. You can't have a griffin. You can't have an owlbear. I mean, those are very animal-type beasts.
Yeah.
Non-intelligent.
The other thing with druids is the amount of wild shapes that she did. Like whenever she's running through the city, she's just changing constantly.
It really depends. Rule of cool for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like I told Jarrett whenever we left the theater, that's one of the things that I wish.
Real like D&D
that
Tabletop
D&D
D&D.
allowed that for like non-combat situations, because that's where druids, if they didn't have a limited amount of wild shapes, that's where they have the most power, is in combat situations, because every time you go down to hit points, if you had unlimited wild shapes, you just wild shape again and you're basically invincible.
Like maybe we don't. Maybe she's just like an arch druid that's level 20 and just has unlimited wild shapes.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Unlikely,
Yeah.
but possible.
Possible.
But yeah, you're not supposed to be able to change. You're supposed to be limited to 2. She changed, I don't know, fucking.
And the chasing alone, she changed like 6 times.
But
Well, see, those little creatures, though, I never thought that really should be limited either way. Being able to turn into a small bird, that's not really that effective in like a big combat situation. So it's not like it's detrimental to the story.
Well, it's more like story driven. Whenever you let a character change, use their wild shape for like, oh, I want to be a mouse so that I can.
For tactical reasons.
It would be
like
neat to actually add that into the character, though. Well, there's a lot of things in this movie, specifically, just to preface this, that really gave me ideas for things for characters or ways to make classes better. Specifically, Druid and Wild Magic Sorcerer. But with the Druid thing, I thought it would be really cool, like, if you have, like, a CR 1/8, if they could just shape into those anytime they want.
Just unlimited.
Unlimited. That'd be kind of cool. So like a bird or a fawn. Like she did turn into a deer. I mean,
which was fucking hilarious because they sat there and was like, we need a deer. No, you don't. We don't need a deer.
I mean, you should roll the dice to see.
To see what?
I mean, can you roll the dice?
It's me. We've talked about it.
Oh, okay.
I've talked about it. I didn't think we needed to roll the dice on this one.
Okay.
Well, but fine. Guess what, Jarrett? Did you notice any other changes besides the druid? I can't think of them, but I know that I've seen them during.
Realistically, the druid and bard not really using magic, although the druid alluded to using magic at some point. Like she was, when she got her cuff, she was going to do something with magic.
A little bit. Yeah.
Well, when she got her cuff, she was going to turn into an owlbear. Yeah. You could see that it was like an owlbear arm.
But yeah, bard's not having magic. It was just like a.
He was more of a mastermind.
I did have to explain this to Tyler. Like he was confused why what Edgin's.
I was like he's just a dude.
He's just a guy. I'm like, I had to explain. I'm like, bards canonically were like the worst class in D&D.
It took him a long time to be able to actually access real magic in like second edition.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're just like generally considered like the worst one. Like they're just like shit.
Well, it's that whole problem with being the jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
So I figured that was more of what they were going for. Was like, this is a bard. He's not good at anything, really.
Which, if you want to play that type of character, I do suggest Mastermind Rogue. That really plays more off of what style of character he was in 5th edition. But he is a bard because he could play instruments. I mean, he's just more
very
of like,
charming. And
yeah.
Ethan, did you notice any other changes?
Not especially. I mean, there was, like you said before, Jarrett, like the magic. Some of the magic was a little bit strange, and they were firing off really quickly. But I mean, for thematic reasons, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a rules lawyer. I always hated that.
Now let's go into my least favorite part of the movie.
It might be mine, Ethan's favorite part.
Oh my God. It's a favorite and least favorite at the same time. Like it's the animatronic mythical races.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Practical effects, premium. Premium
but
every time.
It'll look so much better. You can watch this movie in 20 years and be like, that will still look as good
as it does now.
Yeah, but here's my issue. Every time a Dragonborn opens up their fucking mouth, it just looks so bad. Like, they look so cool, and then they open their mouth, and something about, like, I don't know if I'm seeing, like, wires whenever they open them up, or I don't know what is happening whenever I see that happen. It just takes me out of it entirely.
I thought it was lovely.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the TMNT movies from the 90s, which I love. So
I mean, I love those.
It hits me in a nostalgia spot where I'm like, yes.
I love those too, but
terrible, but it's awesome.
I think it's not just the fact that it's going to hold up over time, being the same as it is now.
Yeah,
because it was practical. I think it's got a little bit more charm to it because it's it's a fantasy world. We all know it's not real, so it doesn't really matter how good it looks.
Yeah.
There's always a bit of suspended disbelief in a fantasy world. So
I just thought of another change. The tiefling.
That
Which that's a very minor change, not being colored.
they don't have to be.
I know they don't have to be, but typically whenever you see, like, you could type tiefling into your
would
phone right
imagine
now.
Well, yeah,
and you're
because people tend to make edgy characters and
Yeah.
like they're gonna be red.
yeah,
or
I imagine
blue.
it was though like
Blue.
it was done for more of a practical effect. Of,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
They didn't want.
But if you go and you
Sophia to be in
actually-
makeup for 8 hours every day,
But if you go into like the lore and stuff, most of them aren't like red or anything.
they,
Like, even the Asmodeans, like they're not red.
they're just like pale.
Well, they're usually not even half demons. They're usually, well, I guess the easiest way to explain it would be like fiendish DNA in their DNA. Because at some point in
The
the
demon cut itself, and just put a little drop of blood in their blood.
well, because half demons aren't called tieflings; they're called cambions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, a tiefling would be like the child or grandchild or great grandchild of a cambion. They got little bee horns.
So, this is not on here, but I want to do it. I want to rank the mythical races that we've seen.
Okay.
So, we've seen half-elf, which is semi-mythical, I guess. We've seen a dwarf.
Yeah.
We've seen Eric Cochran, because Jarnathan.
Halfling.
We did see a halfling. Well, fuck it, yeah. I think that's on there.
I don't. It's not on there.
It's not on there.
No.
Let's talk about it now, then, before we get into ranking this. Fucking Bradley Cooper.
That
one was great.
That one surprised him.
I had no. How has this movie been out for a month and I did not know that Bradley Cooper was in it? I have not heard hide or
Such a-
hair.
When we watched it, I'm like, "Is that fucking?"
Yeah, I was
Bradley
surprised.
Cooper?
I
I'm
did,
like,
I
what
did
the
the same
fuck?
thing. I was like, why is Bradley Cooper in this movie? Why is he a nobody in this movie? Like,
It was so perfect, though.
oh yeah, it was great. So we've seen halfling. Eric Cochran, Dragonborn, and I want to say Khajiit because my brain goes straight to Skyrim, but it's Tabaxi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And is that all the mythical races we've seen?
half orc. I'm assuming that was a half orc in the beginning with the.
Yep.
Yeah, I would assume.
And the Goliath.
There was a Goliath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one that
Bradley Cooper's new
the
woman.
new girl was a Goliath.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, because she was like 12 foot taller than.
She ducked to go in the doorway.
Yeah, she was a Goliath. So, I'm going to leave off the humanoid races because they all just look the same to me
Outside of Halfling.
outside of Halfling, but that's just because they did a wonderful job of making Bradley Cooper seem so fucking small.
That forced perspective.
It was actually very accurate for the actual height and like
I think they did well with
proportions, the way halflings are supposed to look.
yeah, I think they did well with the dwarf too.
Yeah, I think they did.
So realistically,
Dwarfin was easy though. He wasn't around any other creatures or anybody.
Yeah,
It's just by
he was just
himself.
by
Like,
himself.
so that's like a regular ass guy.
But since we just touched off on Tiefling, we could probably leave that off.
Tiefling.
yeah. So basically, we're gonna rank the Dragonborn, the Tabaxi, and the Eric Cochran.
Okay,
And
it's very easy for me.
Well, no, there was another one.
Was there?
Was it the elephant person?
Was there a Loxodon? I didn't.
I think it was a Loxodon. I don't remember. It was in the council at the beginning when he's having his hearing at the prison. Mm-hmm. There was another race there.
there was a black woman, there was a white man,
Yeah,
there was the Dragonborn,
Black
and then
Dragonborn.
Was it a Dragonborn?
Yeah, it's Dragonborn.
All right, I could have swore there was either a Loxodon or the other one. I can't
there
remember
was
the name.
two Dragonborns because there was
okay.
in the
Council-
movie
yeah,
there
the
was the
councilman.
council, and then
Maybe he was just really fat.
there was the beggar. He was really fat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was.
So, Jarrett, you're up, bud.
Goes Tabaxi, Aarakocra, Dragonborn. I love that fucking little Tabaxi kid that gets pulled out of that giant fish because it's so stupid and weird.
Yeah, it definitely is weird.
I loved it though because he's like,
He didn't move his arms. At least I didn't see him move.
That's true.
But he just kind of lay, which makes it makes it a better scene because you can tell it's just a fucking doll that he pulls out. Ethan, rank yours, bud.
I would say I was really happy because, like, even with Lord of the Rings, like, halflings never get portrayed for the height and proportions that they're supposed to be. And I thought they just really did. So I do Halfling, Eric Cochran, which I normally hate, but and then what was the other one? Tabaxi, and then Dragonborn. I just don't think the Dragonborn was okay.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as great.
No.
Like, so,
The stupid wings on the Eric Cochran.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
they were
so
great.
bad, but so good at the same time.
so mine goes, I have a soft spot for Eric Cochran's.
Yeah.
So obviously Eric Cochran's my number one. The Tabaxi is my number two, not even because I like the character, it's because I hate the Dragonborns when they open their mouth so much. Like, that's what puts Dragonborn at the bottom for me. I think the Dragonborns, just looking at them, look better than the Tabaxi.
You know, the Dragonborn reminded me of the birds from Dark Crystal. The bird creatures. I don't remember what they're called because I couldn't watch Dark Crystal all the way through.
So we got through that. We're going to go on to the next point, which is sequel. Do we think they're going to make a sequel? I would assume so.
It's probably gonna need a really strong digital release.
I think it's gonna depend on that. Yeah.
Because I think it just broke like 180
Okay.
million
So it's not
worldwide.
a lot.
Budget was like 150. It's probably gonna end up technically losing money, probably from the box office release, if it doesn't.
Do really well digitally.
Yeah.
Which sucks because
It's gonna have to get to like 250, I think, before
Probably
they're gonna
in there.
even consider doing a sequel.
I just assumed that they would because, you know,
It's hard though because a lot of
Milk
comedies,
everything for every chance you
a
get.
lot of comedies just don't make money
yeah.
on box office. Like they just don't.
A lot of them get sequels though,
Yeah.
A lot of them should.
and if they keep up with practical effects, it's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they get a sequel. I would enjoy a
Oh, yeah.
sequel that's
They've
involved.
got room for it in the story.
Yeah, I mean they very obviously
they
like,
can go
left
anywhere at this point.
I don't want to use the word like they left it like on like a cliffhanger or anything, but they left a nice open-ended direction to go for a sequel with
Yeah.
Zastam to, like, obviously he would be the big bad and they would fight him probably.
Plus, they've got plenty more cameos they could do with,
Oh yeah,
Dritz and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
They have all kinds of people they could mess with there.
that would be interesting. That would be interesting to see how they handled Dark Elves.
Yeah.
I would be very interested to see how they do that, just because of
Well, this would be
very-
during the time because I added up when the time period was with Zastam still being interested in Neverwinter, stuff like that. So it's actually in a point where Dark Elves in the storyline are becoming less just outright hostile. They're actually interacting with the rest of the universe in a positive way. Some of them are. Some of them are still,
Assholes.
BDSM assholes.
So next up, did they show off the class as well? I've wrote down everybody that was a class, quote unquote. I say quote unquote because there's two that don't really show off too much of what they do
No.
class wise. So Chris Pine is obviously Edgin the Bard.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that him and Hugh Grant as Forge as a rogue, which I put /Bard because you could go into that and you could have no idea what the fuck Forge is.
Right.
And you could walk out and still not know. Yeah. And they're the two that I think it showed off the least of what they do. If you watch that as somebody who did not know D&D, but somebody told you, okay, this person's a bard, you would walk out going, okay, so they just play music?
Mm-hmm.
Which
That-
is, I mean...
It's pretty much true, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would like understand them though from like Yasker from like the last not the last Witcher.
The Last Witcher.
I was going my brain went to the Vin Diesel movie, The Last Witch.
The Last Witch Hunter.
Witch Hunter, whatever
Yeah.
the fuck it's called.
But
Yeah,
Yasker from The Witcher.
Yeah, The Witcher.
I agree, though. Unless we're talking, it depends on what edition we're talking about, because Bard wasn't that impressive in some previous editions.
Most.
Most. It is now.
It is now.
In 5th edition, it is. If they're going off 5th edition, they could have portrayed a little bit more magic with it, but I don't think they were wanting to focus too much.
I think they wanted to make magic, like casting spells specific to
Sorcerer and
Sorcerer.
Wizard.
Right,
Sorcerer
I really
Wizard.
think they were wanting to highlight Simon.
Yeah.
with the magic.
Yeah. They wanted to be like, this is your magic user.
Yeah.
And then next up, Michelle Rodriguez as Holga, the barbarian. She did wonderful. It didn't really show off a lot. Which it's hard to show off the barbarian. You fight.
Yeah, how do you show off a martial character to be like she's just angry?
Now with Olga, I think what I would have to say about it is that they did a really good job with all of these displaying like lacking certain stats. Mm-hmm. Her intelligence stats has to be in the gutter.
Probably.
But she does it in such a way that's really...
She does it with such...
compelling.
It's such confidence.
And hilarious at times. And confidence. So I think they do a really good job of displaying how... Like, even, like, you can tell, like, there's certain stats certain people have much lower. Like, I'm fairly sure... Edgin has a really low wisdom stat.
That makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
High charisma, low wisdom. He's just getting himself into trouble.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And then Justice Smith is Simon the Sorcerer, who some of these I wrote down like what subclass they were because it was easy to tell.
Very obvious.
And some of them not so much. I would assume, Olga, it would be a totem barbarian. But, I mean, I have no idea. I have no way to know that for sure.
It's not Berserker. She doesn't go Berserk.
Oh.
That's why I'm assuming totem, because it's just she can take a hit almost stronger than anybody else, it seemed like.
I mean, that's
She
where...
took more hits than anybody
I mean, that's where I had trouble, like, placing her, though.
Yeah.
Like, what type of barbarian she would be. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. But Simon is absolutely a wild magic because he says in the movie, that was my wild magic.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because he fails so often.
Yeah.
Or it's not really that it's failing, it's doing something different.
Yeah. Doing something different
He has
than what
some
he
sort
needs
of
to do.
device that he uses to help control that. I like that. The focus helps him control that. But
That is something that they didn't show very much of, like with the wizards and stuff, is the focuses that they have in game versus in the movie.
Well, no,
Simon
he had his focus.
Yeah, but he was the only one.
Well, no.
I didn't ever see any of the wizards have a focus.
The red wizard lady.
Well, at the end,
she had
didn't
a
have-
staff, didn't she? Was it a staff or a wand? Or
No, at the end, she had the horn.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was specific to the spell she was casting. I don't remember seeing a wand or anything
She may not have.
with her. But Justice Smith did great at being that character that is so unsure of themselves.
Right.
It was wonderful. Like, that's someone that you don't see often at a table unless you're playing with really, really good people. Like, most people don't
good role players.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
people don't try to role play that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Because
how they naturally are,
Yeah.
or they're just, everybody's like a cocky bravado.
Yeah, like I'm the fucking greatest.
Yeah.
That's how most people go into it. Which I actually seen a comparison of like who the characters were, like at the table.
Yeah.
And they put Justice Smith. They're like, that's how he is in real life. Basically, they were like, this is the player that this is how they are, and they just put it in a character.
I did have one problem with Simon's story, though. Like, if you read, like, Forgotten Realms books and stuff like that, having somebody be the child of Elminster is a seriously overused trope.
Just happens all the time.
Oh, my goodness. It's like going everywhere in
So-
Lord of the Rings, and everybody is one of Gandalf's child.
Well, it
Who's
sounds
just this insane prodigy of magic.
so.
They're everywhere.
You're telling me it's basically Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Got that DNA spread everywhere.
Yeah, like there's Elminster books. They're written by Ed Greenwood, and that dude would like the whole book series was just an exploration of his fantasies. Like, it's really kind of disturbing at times, but so yeah.
Sophia Lillis is Doric, the druid. I put that she was a moon druid. I don't have any way to confirm or deny that. I'm basing that off of the fact that she didn't use spells. And typically your moon druid doesn't use spells. They focus more on wild shapes. She focused more on wild shapes. The comparison I seen to that was she was the newest to the table.
Yeah.
And that was the DM trying to keep her interested. So he let her use spell slots as wild shapes. That's why she got so many to go through. which makes sense.
Interesting.
I actually kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think she did wonderful. I don't want to say it's a disservice to druids because it's not.
No.
But it's just not. It's not perfect for druids. But again, the whole movie seemed like it, like you said, wasn't really.
It wasn't to the rules, but the question is, was it better?
It was better, absolutely.
Yeah,
I would
because
rather.
they really got to highlight the wild shape.
Yes, and I would rather. Which this is me. I prefer wild shape over spellcasting for druids. That's ideal to me. Like that's what I would want to do if I was playing a druid. Next up is I don't even know how to say his first name. Regé
Jean Page or something. Regé Jean Page.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Is Zinc the Paladin? He is an Oath of Ancients Paladin.
Yeah.
Only reason I know that is because he literally said, "It recalls me to the Oath of the Ancients."
Another one with an intelligence as a dump stat.
Yeah.
This is I think.
Oh yeah,
The Intellect Devourer passed all of them.
Oh,
They
yeah,
all have like intelligence is their low stat.
that's why they didn't have a wizard. They had a sorcerer.
Yeah.
True.
But he did.
It was really good. It was so good for a paladin.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, it's
perfect.
great.
Stick in the mud. You're like, what the fuck?
Very single-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what I have to do, and then you receive new information. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Exactly. I did think it was funny that they like showed him as this almost perfect man.
Yeah.
Whenever they're talking about everything.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, I heard that he did this. I heard that he did that. I heard that he, and just naming off all the
That
different
and
things
His fucking introduction
is him saving the cat. It's-
and basically, it's supposed to be like an allegory to like Jesus, like just go around helping, like helping the beggars, saving people.
It
like,
reminded me of Peter Quill meeting Thor. Is what it reminded me of. It's like he's so perfect, everyone loves him, and Chris Pine just couldn't handle
he's
it.
like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Daisy Head was Safina the Red Wizard, who is more of an antagonist throughout most of the movie, but she was part of the party for a brief second.
Brief memento.
Yeah.
Obviously, very high level wizard has 9th level spell slots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it makes me think maybe that the druid is actually a high level druid because
It's possible. I tried to look up to see like what level they were supposed to be or whatever. I couldn't find anything, but I also didn't look that hard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
time stop's just also a fucking badass spell. So
Yeah. But she did wonderful. I don't think it really showed off. I mean, it showed off Wizard well,
yeah,
but nothing.
having been so versed in the Forgotten Realms and seeing all this red wizard lore come to screen was very exciting.
Gotcha.
Without it being campy.
Without it being campy.
Yeah, this is not campy.
Well, that's
it was
good.
really good.
And then Hugh Grant was Forge, the rogue or bard.
I was really worried about Hugh Grant being in this movie because
he kind of stuck out like it was an odd choice. Right?
odd choice, but I cannot think of anybody more perfect
fucking
to play it now.
Perfect.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Which I will say, I say rogue / bard. He's 100% a rogue. He's all about the treasure. He's trying to steal that shit. Like, whenever you look at it from that point. But whenever you look at it from the class standpoint, I don't know that he did anything to be of help.
That doesn't matter. I mean, that's all role play. So,
Yeah.
like, of course, like
Which that's
a
true.
rogue
you
who's
didn't
really
see him
worried about
fight.
his own wealth and safety is going to avoid combat at all costs.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he's like I said before, maybe he's a mastermind. Maybe Edgin was an inquisitive. You know, there's definitely other things you could suggest in there, but I think that he's definitely a rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, yes. It's just showing off, which I guess this is more the combat side of it. That's how I know a little more about, like, rogue. You know what I mean? You think of the rogue being the sneaky person. I never seen him sneak.
Well,
But he did.
Yeah. That's true.
So next up, is the movie a good mix of comedy and action? I think it leaned a little,
It leans heavier on comedy. I
yes,
think. Yeah.
but I don't think that's a bad thing
No.
by any means because it was fucking. I mean,
What
it had me
action's
laughing.
in there? I really liked all the action. It was like
I don't think the action was overdone.
No,
It wasn't Michael
yeah.
Bay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a small problem with the action, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And it's not that it's action. It's more so the fight scenes.
Oh, I love it.
Like,
I know what your problem is.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've talked about this, but
It's the next question on the
yeah,
list.
but we'll talk about it again. As far as comedy, it was fucking hilarious. At one point, I choked.
I was worried they're going to be making fun of the game. Is what I was worried about. But it ended up being more of an homage to what it's like to actually play the game.
Because
These weird, fucking, stupid, dumb moments that you're just gonna have when you play because it's a game. Like it's all about having fun.
and you make a plan,
Yeah.
and even the
Plan will go
DM
wrong.
has a different plan,
Oh, yeah.
and the party has a plan, and it just happens.
It's almost like you could watch the movie and line out whether somebody succeeded, failed, critically succeeded, or critically failed their roles. And I thought that was really interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like whenever they capture Jarnathan and jump out of the fucking window.
That's the point. When you watch the movie, you're like, okay, this like it's a little weird. You know,
It's
you're
a
like,
weird start.
It's a weird start, but then you get to that fucking point where they capture Jarnathan and jump out the window. You're like, all right, what the fuck is going?
Yes.
Well, that is something that totally would happen.
It is because
Especially because they're like, your pardon was granted.
what happens is as a DM, when you're watching your party do something, you're like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? But really what it is the party doesn't have the whole picture that you have.
No.
Yeah. They have to go off of what they know.
And on movies and stuff, like the people in the movies don't have the whole picture that you have. And what happens a lot of times in D&D when that happens, which is probably more like reality, is people see things and then they start making sudden decisions on things. So they end up choosing ways that are probably much harder than what they should be. So you get this trope with D&D is like the party's always going to choose the hardest way to get things done.
like them capturing an Eric Cochran to fly away.
Right.
Versus just waiting and
Right.
being pardoned.
And I think like that happened several times in this movie.
They fail upwards somehow.
That's exactly how D&D is, though.
Yes.
You usually end up failing upwards.
It is very interesting, though, that almost comes back to not haunt them in any way.
Yeah.
That they broke out. It's just like, it's just a thing that happened. And I mean, that happens in D&D a lot, too.
No consequences for your actions. Gotta love
Essentially.
it.
One of the moment that caused me to choke on an icy sitting in a theater was the fucking speak with the dead. Whenever they get to, like, it's the second person, and they're like, all right, ask him the questions. What's 2 + 2? I'm bad at math. And then dies. I almost died.
So good. My favorite one out of that one is the last guy they do because the next to last guy because he like what happened? He's like I fell, and hit my head on the tub, and then you woke up during the battle. No, I died.
Yeah. And then they ask it. Another good one was like, "What's your favorite book?" And the guy's like, "Oh, that's hard to tell." And they walk away, and then you just hear the guy, "That was only the 4th question." So he's just still alive, sitting out there.
You know, I believe there are times where we've used Speak with Dead at the table and left questions open, and I wonder if those people are still waiting.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't feel bad whatsoever. No.
That I guess that's kind of a change from the spell, is that it's meant to be a yes or no question, isn't it?
I don't remember.
I'd have to look it up. That seems.
I'll look it up, but I think it is a yes or no question. Like you have to ask them questions that are yes or no's.
They don't have to answer in like full truth, but they have to answer truthfully.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell you everything they know about a thing.
Which in the movie they did. They
Well,
told
maybe
you-
been willing to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Been like, I've been so bored.
I've just been laying in the dirt. So the fight scenes is one of the next things up. This is one of my complaints because it takes it out of the immersion of D&D, like from the game. Because most of the fight scenes up until the last big battle were one-on-one.
The last big battle was 1-on-1.
No, it was. They went at it one at a time. They went at Safina one at a time, and then they all went as a party, and that's how they
Well, this
defeated
is
her.
1 versus many.
You saying every fight scene, Bell?
Every fight scene, like it was Michelle
that.
Rodriguez fighting as a barbarian. She fought 10 people, which was hilarious because Chris Pine's just sitting there working on the ropes, and he's like, "Oh, we got him now," and not contributing whatsoever. And then Zink fights 5 undead people.
Tell me that's not realistic in
It's realistic in
a D&D setting.
it's realistic in the way that they're doing, like one person's typically doing your most damage,
Absolutely.
but they're not fighting alone with the other people just standing there. I mean, technically, I guess they kind of are, but
I mean, I could think of
I just thought it was more like to highlight the fact that they didn't really work together in combat as a team until the last fight.
and I get that.
Yeah.
I mean,
like that coming together moment. Like, all right, now get her together.
yeah. Speak with dead. I've got it pulled up now. Until the spell ends, you can ask the corpse up to 5 questions. The corpse only knows what it knew in life, including the languages it knew. Answers are usually brief, cryptic, or repetitive. Okay, so it's not yes or no.
There is what is it? Commune with nature, maybe, or something like that.
yeah.
There are spells that you're thinking of that like it's
Okay.
like it has to be like yes or no.
Yeah, I'm just mixing them.
It's commune, and
Oh,
then
commune.
when you commune with an extraplanar deity, I think it may be yes or no answers.
Okay.
There's something, but you're right. There's several of them that
There's
are
several
like
spells
that.
like that where it's like you have to ask a yes or no question, and
They don't have to answer truthfully.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just one of the things that bothered me is that they don't work as a cohesive party. And when you look at it, that they didn't work as a cohesive party until the end, and then that's how they win. It makes more. I mean, it's more approachable, but just it bothered me the first time I really seen it. Not bothered. I mean, not enough that I'm like, I'm gonna get up and not watch this fucking movie. I'm gonna watch it again whenever it comes out, and I can. Yeah,
So angry.
yeah.
Damn kids.
It was like I said, I went in, I was watching it with like, okay, what's topics that I need to bring up? That was
Right.
one of the topics that I was like, okay, that's not really how a D&D fight goes typically. It is and it isn't.
could be.
Next up, any changes that we would make to the movie? There is no way to make the change that would make it better for me. Let me roll the dice. Let's start with that. Jarrett, you changing anything?
I'm trying to think of something. Maybe just like more of like showing more of the fucking mythical races. Just
Yeah, because they
showed
showed
a few, but like I wanted to see like like
Loxodons. Like,
sure.
I mean,
Like just all the weird shit like fucking
I wanted to see a Leonin licking a dwarf.
that'd be funny. That'd be real funny. I don't know. I just want to see more of like the weird shit that you see sometimes. Like I would have seen I would like to see a Dragonborn like fight, but I feel like
It would have been too hard to pull off.
Been
It
too
would
hard
have
to pull
looked terrible.
maybe like a Genasi or something, or Genasi.
That's what I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking.
Genasi or
Gonna sigh. We have said this before.
Something
There's
a little bit more humanoid would be easier to pull off than like a
Yeah.
dragonborn.
Yeah.
just throw some paint on them.
blue people.
Elves, the different types of elves would
Yeah.
be nice to see.
Yeah,
Like an actual full-blooded elf would have been interesting.
yeah. Ethan, you're up. Any changes you'd make to the movie?
Not especially, to be honest. Maybe I don't think I'd make any more changes. I think there's things I want in the sequel, but
Okay, well, what are those things you'd want in the sequel?
I want more lore true locations.
Okay.
I mean, they had them in this one, but I think the Great Arena is a thing in Neverwinter.
Is it?
But I'd like to see, Baldur's Gate would be nice. I could skip Waterdeep. Waterdeep's just another big city. But Baldur's Gate is like the
city.
city.
It's
Yeah.
the city on
Well, actually, if you're talking like second edition, like Waterdeep was the city everyone used in their campaigns and stuff. But Baldur's Gate has become like the thing since like 1998. So
Which they ended up actually like.
they said something about it.
They
were
said
gonna
something about Baldur's
But
Gate.
they didn't
go
end up
down.
going.
Yeah, because
They
they
were
were
going
like,
to go
take a
down to
boat.
Baldur's Gate to go up, take a boat somewhere to go up
Yeah.
the coast up.
But I mean, there's Kalimshan, there's the Mithril Halls, there's Coromir, there's various other locations. Silvery Moon,
I was thinking Silver Moon.
yeah, would be a good one. They showed Icewind Dale a little bit, but everything's so based around Icewind Dale all the time in Forgotten Realms, and I'm tired of it. They did show the Underdark though. That was
They
cool.
did.
And they showed the Drow City underground. That was really cool.
Yeah.
The intellect devourers actually looked really good, I thought.
I was worried about that when I saw them, but then they got closer up on them, and you know what? They were cool. I would like to see more of the monstrous races too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
We didn't see any monsters.
Illithid, that's what I
A
want.
Lithid would be nice. An actual Beholder would be cool. That'd be terrifying on screen.
Yeah, it would.
Oh my god. But
That should be like the opening for the next movie.
as long as they
Fighting
don't
Beholder.
do a Tarrasque, I'm
Yeah.
tired of hearing about Tarrasques. They're not even that cool of a monster
No, they just it would
No,
look
they're
like
really
a
not.
kind of like giant Godzilla, really.
Yeah.
without the mouth laser.
Yeah, without the atomic breath.
Yeah.
So my change that I would make is if I had some magic fucking wand, I would make the mythical races look better all the time. Not just part of the time, all the time.
All the time.
But there's no way to do that. I know that that's unrealistic. It just
You would regret it in 5 years.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
what
is
I'm
the
saying. Like,
problem.
if there was some magic wand that could make it look perfect forever, that's what I would do. That would be my.
Perpetuity.
If I rubbed a lamp and a genie came out, that's one of my 3 wishes.
The best example for
That
this
seems
for
like a waste
me
of 3 wishes.
is
to be
Star
honest.
Wars. So if you go and you watch episode 6,
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt's palace holds up pretty well. But if you go and you watch episode 1 and the changes that they made in the mid 90s,
I mean,
when they had the Han Solo interacting
yeah.
with Jabba the
that was, I
Hutt
was to go back to episode 4, watch the
in
remaster.
episode 4, it doesn't hold up at all. It is rough.
It's rough
Yeah.
looking now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it would look good for now, but in 5 years I would regret it.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, that looks bad.
Do we think any of the actors or actresses, besides, I mean, we've already talked about them as classes, are worthy of an extra mention? I mean, we talked about Bradley Cooper being a halfling, which was fucking weird. I don't know who was Jarnathan's actor, but
It was funny.
his scream was perfect.
There was some good ones.
Specifically to me, Michelle Rodriguez and Roger Jean Page, I just really like their characters, and they were way funnier than I expected them to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I've watched Michelle Rodriguez in, like, the
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. And she's always had, like, a dry sense of humor, but I don't know if, like, they've never
Been to that level.
Yeah, they've never written her to be that funny.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, holy shit, she's fucking hilarious. in
Yeah,
this
she
movie.
was. She was great.
And Regé Jean Page I was just like, oh, this guy is not only just a pretty face, he can also do a little bit of comedy.
I think the daughter did a good job.
Yeah.
And
And she didn't have a whole lot of, roles, but
it wasn't Lizzo in Star Wars. So, I mean,
Oh yeah, you weren't here for that episode.
Yeah, you were. But yeah, it was. I like that when the daughter, like, obviously when Holga dies, I was like, oh, that was like, that was solid emotion and being like, oh,
Yeah.
that's her mother figure, and then like. The whole movie, I was like, they're not going to get her mom back.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
like, fuck it.
I
I
knew that-
didn't know. I thought he was going to die. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Oh,
I thought
and they
Eddie
were
was
going to
die.
use it to bring
Yeah.
him back.
And like, I thought it was going to be something like that. And I was like, ah, fuck. Now he's got to. Damn.
With the way it went with comedy, I really expected, like, I don't know who I expected to die. It wasn't Chris Pine, but it wasn't Michelle Rodriguez either. It was, I just expected somebody stupid to die, and then they waste it. Like, I was expecting Jarnathan to show up and die, and they were like, oh my God, we have to bring him back.
Jarnathan.
like you would in a D&D campaign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you get obsessed with a random NPC.
Yeah. It happens every campaign.
Book it right now, right? They make a second one. Jonathan will be in the second one.
Oh,
because He
absolutely.
has become like the favorite character that everyone is attached to now.
The party either picks out an NPC that they love, that they want to keep around. I think from my campaigns, I can remember you guys really liking Neil and Earl.
Yeah.
And
Which, I'm going to be honest, we like Neil and Earl because of their accents. It had nothing to do with Neil and Earl.
and the Czar. And you guys like the Czar. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see them go the opposite direction too. Find a character that they really hate that keeps showing
Showing
up
up.
all the time.
Yeah, 'cause
like,
Jarrett does
my
that.
cabbages,
That's
it's-
exactly. I do that a lot. Where I'm like, oh, these guys hate this. Okay,
Well, you had
sprinkle 'em.
Renfrew, the alchemist guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both hated him. Yeah.
I remember Jarrett putting that freaking, I don't remember what he was, but you got so goddamn mad. And one
It was York, the Mad Enchanter.
Yeah.
Every time he kept flying or
he was like,
teleporting away.
every goddamn time you just up and fucking disappear. Stay in the fucking fight. And he's just yelling.
But he wouldn't.
But you could imagine it was my character was
Yeah.
also. I was
That was
mad.
Hagen. That was
I was
Hagen.
mad, but I was channeling Hagen really hard.
Yeah, think about it. Like, it made sense, though. Like, why would he stay and die? Why would he not?
Oh, it
leave?
absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
And last up, well, not last up. Next up, who do you think the movie is intended for / would like it? I think, let's roll the dice. I think let's roll it. It's me. I think the movie's intended for D&D players because they would appreciate it in a way that
Yeah.
just normal people would not.
Yeah.
I do think normal people would like it
Yeah.
because I think it's a good movie overall. Some of the jokes may not may not be perfect for them because they don't understand it as much, but overall they would probably enjoy it.
There's a lot of tropes that
They wouldn't
will
get.
appeal to
Yeah.
a lot of D&D
Like
hardcore
I think that Lucas specifically, being a 10-year-old kid, would love that movie. I think he would think it's hilarious. Next up, Jarrett.
I would agree. I think it's more targeted at D&D players, but it is open and like it's not like so insular to that community that a non-D&D person couldn't watch it and still have a good time. Like I think it's still open to the general public to be like, oh, that was a funny movie,
Yeah.
funny fantasy comedy movie.
Yep. Ethan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
agree.
yeah, pretty well agree. They did a really good job at balancing between appealing to new audiences and appealing to already loyal fans. I think the one thing that really got me as a loyal fan, not only was it just all the little jokes here and there, all the little tropes, but the one thing that really sticks out in my mind is how loyal they stuck to the spells. Like in that last fight, when I saw Odaluke's Resilient Sphere come out,
You're like, oh shit.
I was like, "Oh, I know what that is." So I started paying more attention in the fight.
Gotcha.
And I noticed some of the other spells. There was like the Earthen Grasp.
Yeah, Maximilian.
There was
a version of Bigby's hand, I'm assuming.
yeah.
was like
it was either that or it was like supposed to be because she did Vampiric Touch at one
Could be
point.
Vampire Judge.
But like they were throwing out spells. I really want to go back and watch it like in
And pay more attention to like the D&D side of it.
Yeah, and I would like to go back and just like line out. It's like she used this spell, then they use this spell, and like where's the shield come in, and things like that. And
Yeah.
But I think like they did a really good job at staying loyal to the game itself without being too pedantic and asinine about it.
Yeah. So now we're going to finish off with the ratings. So IMDb, they've got a 7.6 out of 10 with 53,000 reviews and a 72 Metascore. It did not say how many critics had scored it. I feel like that's fair. If people were to watch it that didn't know anything about D&D, they may not enjoy it as much. Or, like we said, the jokes just may not really connect with them.
Maybe there's just less jokes that they understood.
Yeah. I wanted to look and see kind of what all they added. But Rotten Tomatoes is substantially higher, interestingly enough. Rotten Tomatoes is a 90% tomato meter, which is with 282 reviews, and a 93% audience score with 2,500 plus ratings, which is really fucking high. Like, I did not expect it. Coming from IMDb, usually they're close. They're not, like, super, super far apart.
Yeah.
This is, like, two completely different sides of it. I'm looking at...
I'm probably going to go home and like read the bad reviews and get pissed at people.
I'm looking at the reviews right now, trying to see
Yeah, this was something we did on the Mandalorian episode where we
looked at it.
we looked and read bad reviews and was like,
Realistically, like looking at this, most of the new reviews are super high. So it had to be like early on because I've yet to see anything below a 7. Here's a 4. It says, not for me. 4 out of 10. My biggest issue with Dungeons and Dragons is the tone. It seems to be aimed at a young audience, something that's fun for the whole family. A lot of the humor is leaning towards the vicinity of dad jokes. Some of the failed jokes made me cringe. I don't really agree.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
Dad jokes?
I don't. There wasn't a whole lot of dad jokes. Somebody put 6 out of 10. A movie by the terrible Hasbro company that they're just taking out their fucking.
Yeah, they hate Hasbro.
Yeah,
Which,
'cause
understandable.
It's fine.
But,
You're allowed to.
And they're blaming the MCU for it being more comedy. But have you ever played a fucking D&D game?
This is
I know. I can understand it being related to the MCU because this movie is not dissimilar from a D&D version of Guardians of the Galaxy. In a lot of ways, it's very similar. Mm-hmm. They kind of come at things, certain jokes in the very same way that you would in a James Gunn movie. You know,
this review will piss Jared off.
But I like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So why would I dislike this?
But I mean, for fuck's sake, have you ever played a D&D campaign? Half of it's just doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
To some people they're like, it's like super serious. Like those groups exist where they're like, it's not fun.
Yeah. We call them cocksuckers.
Jesus.
We're here to have fun. We're not here to play rules games.
Okay, so Jared will hate this one, but he'll have to be okay with it because on the Mando episode, he said if it's anything higher than a 1 out of 10, I'll respect it. This is a 2 out of 10.
If it's a legitimate gripe, yeah.
It says, I've got 5 questions that need answering. Why, and why.
Oh.
And the first, it's a big long one, so I'm not going to read it all. But I just thought it was funny because it was 2 out of 10. And
that's what he started with?
Well, that's the title of it. As I've got 5 questions. And then it's... it's that long. I'm not going to sit here and read that whole thing.
Probably has some legitimate gripes.
Yeah. 5 out of 10. It says it's overrated. It's got a lot more to it than just that. 3 out of 10. Less is more. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons as far as I know. And as far as I know, neither have any of my friends. So maybe it's not fair for me to rate this film, but let's do it anyway.
I don't think it's perfectly fair because it's not like...
They said they started yawning halfway through the film.
Maybe they had a late night.
The special effects aren't very special. They didn't really have a whole lot of special effects.
Maybe they were like not impressed with the animatronic.
Probably not. I mean, that's understandable. A lot of the 6 out of 10s are like, I wanted to like it, and I kind of did.
That's fair. Everybody doesn't like every single thing.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people out there who don't even like comedy.
Yeah, like the comedies may not really be their thing, but they're like, yeah.
This one, I don't think the guy watched the movie. 3 out of 10, Dungeons and Diversity. I've been a Dungeons and Dragons fan since the early 90s. I've played all the games since then, so it was nice to mention things like Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter, although it usually wasn't much more than a reference. They were in Neverwinter, so that wasn't just a fucking reference.
I'm saying that it usually wasn't more than anything in a reference.
Yeah.
But.
The writers came out early and said they had fun emasculating the male characters in this movie. That was an early indication that this would be a movie focusing more on social politics rather than entertainment. Unfortunately, that was correct. Almost all the men here are physically weak and idiots, whereas all the women are strong and intelligent. One girl with no armor or weapons
Barbarian
beats up 20 plus soldiers in full plate mail and throws them around like ragdolls.
Yeah,
Even
awesome.
The dragon was made to be an obese idiot. One guy was an actual housewife. This movie could have been fantastic, but instead it was just an advertisement in diversity, inclusion, and woman power. Snowflakes rejoice. What the fuck?
I don't think he watched the movie. Or she watched the movie, whoever it is, but they are now labeled as Captain Incel to me. We don't have a Captain Incel. I just keep mentioning the name.
True.
I'm going to say...
I don't know if this person's ever seen a vagina.
This is their name on D&D. Yugashan. It's Yugeshan. That is their name.
Let's stay away from that one.
It just... What? Like, who gives a fuck?
It's part of the funny part. I don't know. That was part of the comedy part. It's like, yeah, Egan and Simon suck.
She's a barbarian.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be able to whoop the shit out of a bunch of people.
Turned into an owlbear.
Yeah.
That's not...
Badass. And like,
let's throw this out there. Edgin, pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Simon, not so much. He
For
did
most-
a lot,
most of the movies.
most of the movie, but that was because that's his character.
That's his character arc.
He
in this movie. It's like
he doesn't believe in himself, so therefore he can't do anything to begin with. At the end, he turns that around.
Yeah.
In the next movie, I would expect him to not be a useless piece of shit. If there is a next movie. That one made me mad. I'm glad I read that one. So
Maybe that person will get like a strange, severe injury where they can't use their hands anymore. We can hope that they don't write any more reviews.
I wonder if I can click their thing and read their reviews in general.
It's probably gonna be.
I cannot.
I didn't get the idea out of this that this was a woke movie at all.
I think I can. See, I'll review. Yep, I can do it. We're going to do that after this because we're going to wrap this up And we're going to see what else shit that he deals with. Or she. I don't know.
They.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for listening. It's been about an hour. We spent a lot longer on this than I thought we would. I thought we would crank through it pretty fast.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah,
It
we
is.
like to, vamp on shit we like.
Yeah, that is true.
Go watch it.
Go watch it. Or wait until it comes out and then watch
And
it.
if you've already seen it,
Do both.
maybe
yeah.
go watch it again.
Do both so we can get a sequel.
Before you write a review, at least watch it once.
So thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. If you want to find more of our content, there's a link tree in the description. And that link tree can take you to our homepage on Anchor. It can take you to Spotify. It can take you to our Discord. We actually have a link to where you can join our Discord and talk to us and share in Jarnathan memes. Because that's all I'm going to look for now is Jarnathan memes. You can find links to our Patreon. You can find a link to our Facebook page, our Instagram, and our YouTube, which doesn't have anything on it. Although I'm going to try here soon, I'm going to try to start like adding some stuff. And
Like what?
well, just like the podcast. I'm going to try to basically put like an image and do like a visualizer, like audio visualizer going and just upload that.
Oh, that'll be nice.
That way we can reach more people, hopefully.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. But we thank you guys for listening. We hope that you'll join us for the next one. And that's it.
Bye.
Deuce.